Out of this world, a Dutch company is looking for a few good humans who might be willing to travel to Mars, and maybe no guarantee that you're ever coming back. That's the tricky part about this story. Mars One wants to establish a colony on the red planet. They'd like to do this by 2023. Applicants must be at least 18 by the time that date rolls around. They must speak English, not Martian, apparently, and not have any pressing business on Earth ever again. Derek Pitts joins me now from the Franklin Institute. He is the chief astronomer there. It's a great place to visit. Good morning, Derek. So
Good morning, Martha.
Tell me about this program.
Well, this is a really interesting way to figure out how to populate Mars, how to colonize Mars. And the trick that you mentioned about it being a one-way trip, it may sound crazy at first, but when you really think about how this planet was explored 500 years ago, explorers like Captain Cook and Magellan took big risks like this all the time, knowing that there was a pretty good chance they might not come back. So it's not entirely nuts to think about doing it this way.
Yeah, you know what? When you put it that way and you think about the pioneers going out west, and as you say, the explorers who left Europe, you know, some of them thinking that the world was flat, that they might fall off the edge, it is a very interesting comparison. So who do you think would be up for this job, and what are the requirements?
Well, I think people who would be up for this are the ultimate explorer type people who really want to be on the cutting edge of learning about our solar system or carving a place out in history for themselves, like the great explorers of this planet have done. Maybe people who realize that this is their best chance at a really wonderful thing to do. And the requirements for this, well, I think one of the requirements is that you have to have a really stable sort of mental attitude about this, because you are going to be out there either alone or with just a few other people over a very long trip in a place where you don't have other resources outside you.
I mean, and obviously we haven't sent anybody to Mars except the rover, and we've seen some really interesting pictures that have come back and some possibility that there might have been water there at some point. But how could we, well, what's the how would you survive up there? I mean, it's impossible to imagine at this point.
Yeah, that's true. But the way this would have to be done is that everything that's needed for them to survive would have to be sent out ahead of time. All the equipment to create the water, to create breathable air, food supply, habitat, roving capability,
like
all that has to be sent ahead of time. Yeah, sort of set it up as a camping site, if you will, sort of like a camping site beforehand. Make sure it's all operating before you send the travelers there, the explorers there. And then give them everything else they need to work with that equipment to establish a livable habitat.
So little kids right now, who may be 18 by 2023, have something to think about. Derek, thank you. It's fascinating. Thanks for being with us today.